Ducati X Diavel is almost a completely new bike from the ground up, despite the styling similarities to the existing Diavel range. It basically shares the same Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 tires, the clutch, gearbox, and generator. Everything else is new and built specifically for the X Diavel, and that includes Ducati's first ever belt drive system, which needed carbon fiber weave to make it strong enough to handle the power and torque from the engine. The 1262 cubic centimeters, 153 bhp V-twin installed in the X Diavel is essentially a new engine when compared directly to the Diavel or Multistrada 1200 DVT. The 1262 DVT motor produces peak power of 153 bhp at a lowly 5000 rpm. The torque peaks at 95 ft-lb, but it produces 72 ft-lb at just 2000 rpm. Combined with the new motor is a full complement of electronic control systems including cornering ABS, traction control, anti-wheelie, 3 riding modes, cruise control, and Ducati Power Launch, which is a 3-mode launch control system. It all seems a very long way from the simplicity of a Harley-Davidson cruiser for sure. The Diavel will continue to be on sale alongside the X Diavel for those Ducati riders who don't want a feet-forward riding style but want the muscle cruiser looks. Ducati bosses have admitted there wouldn't be an X Diavel if it wasn't for the Diavel paving the way, smoothing the waters and getting the world ready for a Ducati so far from the normal range. Traffic clocked San Diego was a slightly dull but very illustrative way of getting a feel for the X Diavel. I initially started in touring mode, which is the softer of the 2 full power modes. Sport is the same power and torque, but a sharper throttle response. After a couple of miles, I switched to urban mode, which drops the power to 100 bhp and softens off the throttle response and makes the bike far more of an easygoing cruiser through heavy traffic. Out onto some amazing roads running through the hills in the direction of Mexico, and the X Diavel was able to deliver the sorts of riding thrills no other cruiser could have got anywhere near. Power wheelies in first, second, and occasionally third were reined in electronically by the bike, but were ample demonstration of the torque on offer from the engine. I was initially a little hesitant in pushing on any harder, because I wrongly assumed the long wheelbase and raked out front wheel was going to make the bike unwieldy and hard to steer. But in reality it's nothing of the kind, and you can still push hard on that front Pirelli tire and have direct knowledge of what's going on. Combined with the shove from the engine, the ferocious braking power from those Brembo M50 calipers on the S model, and the decent 40-degree lean angle on offer, this is a cruiser that can still deliver great handling with all the cool you could ask for. In some ways, I think this bike is going to be far too much of a performance bike for some in the cruiser market. It's very, very fast, and quite firmly sprung, but if you have always wanted the looks of a cruiser but were never prepared to put up with the performance, handling and braking compromises they entailed, then the X Diavel is perhaps perfect for you. Annoyances were few and far between, but the only one that stood out to me was the irritating indicator switch. It was far too easy to click on the indicators by accident and then a bit hit and Mississippi switching them off. And this isn't going to be a cheap bike for sure. MCN understands the prices are going to be £15,795 for the standard model and £18,395 for the S model. Both models should be available in March in UK dealers.